But you did actually do a interesting social distancing stand-up for America's Got Talent for season 15, and
Yes.
where you just actually performed for just the judges. I don't think there was actually a live or a large audience there. So how was it performing for just the judges themselves?
Well, because of who the judges were, Howie Mandel, Simon Cowell, because of who they were, I was nervous out of my mind. But it didn't bother me that I was performing in front of no one because, as comedians all know, no matter what your level, you've performed in front of five friends before, which is probably either your friends or
Oh,
just
yeah.
other comics. So, because of, the comedy grind in itself along the years, like you can be at San Diego Civic Center on a Friday night in front of 5,000 people and then come to a small boutique show in LA and it's 15. So that part I was already I was used to doing that part when not having a crowd. It was just being in front of, Simon Cowell and Howie Mandel, and these guys are career changers, just that platform alone is one of the largest platforms a comedian can actually
Oh,
perform
yeah.
on. So that part I was super nervous, but once I got going, and we did have like the crew, which shout out to the gaffers, lighters, all those set producers, because they got to watch. And once you heard those guys chuckle, you were like, okay, I'm doing something right
Oh,
now.
yeah.
So it was a great experience, and I'm super grateful for it. Don't get me wrong, I had that moment because I'll never forget it. It was March 13th when we actually started filming, and I'm superstitious, and I was like, oh Lord, it's Friday the 13th.
Oh,
Please don't let
man.
me hear that buzzer. So I'll never forget. And then it was really scary for me because we filmed March 13th, and then around March 16th, production contacted me and said, hey, another comedian on the show has COVID, so you might want to get tested. And this was
Oh,
way
man.
back in the beginning when the hospitals would tell you, can you breathe? Okay, then we'll come back later. What?
Oh,
Did
man.
you just hear me say that I was in close contact taking a mouth open? And you take those photos when your mouth is open?
Yeah, yeah.
That's the kind of picture I'm taking with him. And because he was a comedian, that's who I hung out with the most, because you're going to
Oh,
hang out
man.
with other people.
Yeah.
And then to find out, thank God, big ups to Michael Yo, thank God he's okay now. But it was really scary. And I just was like, so wait, what? So it was quite the experience. But I tell you that too, because we didn't know, and unfortunately I didn't get to advance on because I didn't have a place to perform. And I'll never forget, I have a great story with that, because we were doing it virtually. We went every different place in my apartment. I live on a major street, so we were even trying to, it was so much. And I'll tell you, that night my girlfriend was over. She was here with me when we filmed. And I remember looking at her and I was like, I think I'm upset. And she goes, you have every right to be. And so I was upset. I was in my feelings, like, woe is me. That night, coming home around 1:30, because I had to take her back home because she stayed over with me, I get a phone call and I'm already in my worst mood. And on top of that, it was private. So it's booty
Oh,
call hours and
yeah.
it's private. So you already know. And I picked up the phone. It was like, hello. And it was an English lady. And she goes, oh, hello. I'm sorry. Is Crystal Powell there? And I was like, well, this can't be a bill collector because it's
Yeah.
after 9. So I got myself together and I was like, yes, this is she. How can I help you? It's freaking Simon.
Oh, wow.
And he goes, that felt horrible. And I wanted to say, you think? But I was just so excited that he called me and he was like, hey, he goes, I liked you the minute you stepped out on that stage. He goes,
Yeah.
and I love you even more now for standing up for yourself. He was like, unfortunately, this is just where we're at with COVID. But he goes, I promise you, if you can just keep moving forward, he goes, you have such a bright future. That was all I needed. I said, y'all heard what
Yeah.
Simon said, right?
Yeah.
So, that's what made me get out of my, I don't even want to say I was depressed, but I was upset about it. But, you can never take it off of my resume. I have a great story to tell about Simon
Yeah.
Cowell. And I auditioned, made it on, and made it around on America's Got Talent, and as myself doing my craft. And that's amazing for a little girl out of Tatum, Texas. So I have no complaints except for to have more money and lose a few more pounds. But I think that's everybody.
Oh, yeah. Well, an interesting project that you've actually produced on your own, and from what I've noticed, that it's kind of been I don't know if a pet project or a baby of yours that you've been actually starting up for a couple of years that recently you just got a chance to finally start doing was your Coffee with Crystal program. So, what got you interested in starting that?
What got me interested in starting that is not waiting for someone, not waiting for Hollywood. Like, of course, my dream job right now, I would love to be a TV host or sit on a panel with other like-minded people and discuss, topics and what's going on in the world and highlight, superstars in the world. But of course, right now, hello, yep, hello, they hadn't called yet. So instead of waiting on them to call, I did my first season myself on a sardine and saltine cracker budget, and it came out all right. And now we're getting ready to shoot season 2. We have sponsors as well as a budget and some production behind it. So I can't wait to see what it's going to be like with some actual money and production behind it. But yes, it's my baby, and I had to. I wanted to. I wanted to put out into the world what I wanted to see myself doing. So I feel like and this is for anyone else, like if you have projects that you want to work on, you can't wait. Like if you want to see yourself playing a detective, write a screenplay or write a short series and put yourself in it as a detective. Now you're giving someone a visual to see you, but you're also giving someone a visual because think about it. When it comes to these big productions, you're talking about millions and millions of dollars, and you've got to persuade someone that they can trust their project and their money with you. So I think if you can show that, hey, I'm willing to do this with my own budget and my own money and my own blood, sweat, and tears, then I think they'll be more likely to trust you with theirs. And if they don't, hey, you got your own project. Now, as you see, we have all these different platforms.
Oh yeah.
YouTube stars are just like television stars. Put it on YouTube, let it live there, get your fan base to come there, and you've got your own TV show. So I tell people all the time, that's the biggest advice that I can give to anyone. Do not wait on Hollywood to
Oh yeah.
call. Don't wait on the chivalry. Don't wait on the cavalry to come because they're not coming. And create your own projects, put your own blood, sweat, and tears and your own money into it. And why work so hard to make someone else rich when you can do it yourself? So
And I've heard you mention before that a big name that you've actually worked with in the past was the late Robin Williams. So how is it working with him?
you know what? Robin was before I actually even really knew I wanted to do stand up. I was wanting to just be an actor. And I always tell people this, and people that know me, they'll be like, she's so true. People can smile. I can tell people's mood, their spirit by their eyes. And the moment I met him, his eyes were smiling at me. I was just so excited because he hadn't said 2 words. And his eyes just were so happy and
Oh man.
full of life. Yes, there was pain in there. That's pretty much most
Yeah.
comics. The late, great Richard Pryor used to say, laugh through our pain. Like
Yeah.
the worst pain is the best on stage. So you could tell in the distant that, there was some pain there. But he was just such a happy person. And, I was an actor, didn't even have my SAG card at the time. And I'll never forget, it was Robin Williams, Don Cheadle, and Harrison Ford, and Callista Flockhart, his fiance at the time. And so everyone was kind of like being a little stiff because, these are people we've never heard of before. And you've heard this on sets before. If a background artist gives the main actor eye contact, that's grounds to get fired.
Oh man.
So everybody was doing all types of stuff, and we were all like, we're nobody, so let's just kind of stay out of the way. He was like, what's your name, girl? All right, let's get to it. What we doing? Hey, y'all. And he was just, it was like he was my cousin. And I was like,
Oh man.
your eyes are smiling, you're a good person, and you're nice, because it's the worst thing to meet someone that you think is like just this great artist, and they're talented, and they're so funny, and they're
Right.
all of these great things, and then you get to meet them, and they're a butthole, and you're like,
Oh yeah.
you don't even like them anymore. You're like, you're not as talented as I thought you were. Which I get it,
Oh yeah.
everybody wants a break, but come on, guys, because artists are no one without fans.
Yeah.
We're no one. Like, if we don't have anyone that wants to watch our content, or that wants to hear us talk, or that wants to watch our videos or come to our shows, we're nobody. So I never understand, when you find an artist that's great, but they're a butthole. It's like,
Oh,
don't,
yeah.
come on, man. So Robin Williams, yes, he was absolutely amazing. I have his book as a memento in there, and of course, I was devastated. But that's the same thing with America's Got Talent. That's something that'll never leave me. It'll always be on my resume, and I'll always have that dear to my heart because he was one of the first people that I ran across that made me say, "Oh my God, I want to do stand up. This is what I want to
Wow.
do," and this guy is great.